Well, a very good morning. Welcome along to round 13 of the 2025 ABB FIA Formula E World Championship. It is time for the Hankook Berlin E-Prix. And as you can see, the weather has taken a turn for the worse ahead of free practice 2 this morning. The rain has set in and it is set to continue like that for the majority of the day, I'm afraid to say. Very much looking forward to seeing what is going to happen when we head into qualifying and indeed the race this afternoon, with so much on the line this weekend. But let's remind you of the calendar that we've had for season 11. Of course, we kicked off in Brazil at the start of December, where Mitch Evans took an emphatic victory from the back of the grid. Then we saw Rowland beginning to get really into his stride. You can see he's taken 4 victories so far in 2025, in Mexico, in Saudi Arabia, in Monaco, and also in Tokyo as well. And we've also had some new winners this season as well, including the likes of Dan Tickton. Brilliant result for him with the Cupra Kiro team. This is your starting list for this weekend. 2 new names on it for this weekend. Felipe Drugovich is in at Mahindra. He's replacing Nick de Vries. And at Nissan, Sergio Sette Camara is in for Norman Nato. Both of their regular drivers over in Sao Paulo in Brazil for the World Endurance Championship event here this weekend. Anyway, this is Berlin. These are the drivers. This is Sergio Sette Camara. He's very excited to be in arguably his most competitive package of his Formula E career. And this is your reigning world champion, Pascal Wehrlein. Still very much mathematically in with a shout of it, but as you can see, a 69-point gulf that he's got to make up to Oliver Rowland in order to be crowned as the world champion. Well, my name is Tom Brooks. Alongside me, Andre Lotterer and Billy Munger here to guide you through the action this morning. And Andre, well, the weather suboptimal, but we're going to have a look at the circuit here at Templehoff. I mean, this is a legendary track, isn't it, in terms of Formula E?
Yeah, it's almost home of Formula E. There's been so many races here. I don't know how many races we did here.
20.
20, right? So I think I raced here like 11 times, and it's a great location because you have the track in the city, but still it has the vibe of a permanent track, so you can accommodate more fans with bigger grandstands. So here we're in turn 1 with attack mode, which is always critical to get right. And then a new chicane that's been there last year, but a bit wider, so a bit more speed. So that's why we saw the lap times being faster than under a minute. Then a big overtaking zone in turn 6 and 7. And the track's quite wide, so it allows a lot of overtaking and side-by-side racing. And yeah, quite good for Formula E racing. And then approaching the last sector with a triple left, which is very technical, very difficult on the tires, and to get a good exit on the main straight. And yeah, difficult to get the right apex there and easy to miss it, but yeah, it's Berlin Formula E track.
That's it, and then the start-finish straight, of course, that's where the 2 Tag Heuer Porsches came together quite spectacularly yesterday. You can see Pit Boost as well this weekend. It's a double header, so will be a Pit Boost race here this afternoon. Interesting as well, because lap times were about 4 seconds quicker in the dry conditions yesterday. However, no need to worry about any of that at all, Billy, because it is very, very wet out there and set to continue for the rest of the day.
Yeah, they won't be setting any personal best lap times, that's for sure, today, because it is soaking wet out there. The rain has been pouring all night long and it's continued into this morning. So at the minute, yeah, they're going to struggle to set some quick lap times today, Tom.
Yeah, they certainly are. And we can bring you some news ahead of free practice 2. Unfortunately, due to the weather, the standing water out on track, the session has been cancelled, I'm afraid to say. So that means there'll be no running ahead of qualifying, which is set to take place this morning, 11:20 local time. You can see the clerk of the course. I mean, look at that standing water. You need a boat with 2 oars rather than a Formula E car and 4 wheels, don't you?
I love your sayings, Tom. Yeah, no, I mean, it is seriously wet out there, so I think it is the right decision to cancel the session. Obviously, it makes it slightly more challenging for the drivers and the engineers, because yesterday they got purely dry running in, so they haven't had any time to prepare the car, make any mechanical changes, considering the race and qualifying today is likely to be in these conditions.
It's not going to be a good day. Just have a look at the weather forecast, and it's going to keep falling down quite a bit today. So be interesting to see how the race director is going to handle the situation and what slot to pick to send the boys out.
I don't know what black cat or ladder someone at Formula E has walked under, but it seems to have just followed us around continuously since Monaco. I mean, the last 3 months of Formula E racing, we seem to have just had wet weather.
Yeah, in the first seasons of Formula E, we were actually joking because it was the opposite. It never rained, so we thought, okay, we are subscribed to sunny racing days. But yeah, I think now it's the opposite, at least for this year.
Yeah, you can see on the side of the Andretti garage some super slow-mos, just, of course, their thoughts on the session being cancelled here for free practice 2 this morning. That's very unfortunate for a lot of the drivers. What I am interested to know, though, is what this is going to mean as we head into qualifying, because this would be a critical session with the wet weather. Of course, it was dry yesterday, so now they've got no wet weather running at this circuit prior to quali.
Yeah, but it's the same for everybody. I think there's no one at advantage or disadvantage there, and also they've managed to gain some experience in the previous races with the wet. So I think they know a bit better what to do with the tire pressures, with the systems and everything. So let's see how drivable it will be. I think the drainage is not too bad here. It is a flat surface, but walking into the track this morning, I saw like they have quite big irrigation, or how you call it, like gutters.
The drains.
The drains,
yeah.
For the water to evacuate, because I mean it is an airport, so they had to install these things, and hopefully that works well, and the drivers will not have aquaplaning.
No, exactly. I mean, let's be honest, you know, walking around there, you need to get your armbands out this morning to get into the circuit. It was absolutely torrential. And I mean, you can see just with the standing water here with this, you know, normal road car. I can't imagine what that must be like in a single-seater, Billy.
Yeah, again, in single-seaters, with the way things work, it makes it even more challenging for the drivers. If you get that aquaplaning, you are a passenger effectively in the car. So it's really important for the safety of the championship and the drivers and the teams to not go out there for the sake of it and potentially damage the cars, considering we've got a busy day today. We have qualifying and the race still to come. And if we can prioritise those sessions and make sure they happen effectively, that's what Formula E will do.
Well, a bit of housekeeping prior to this event as well. So, Felipe Drugovich is in at Mahindra this weekend, but he's going to be starting from the back of the grid due to, I believe it was a gearbox change. So, the team deciding to do that on that car prior to this weekend. So that means that the Brazilian, unfortunately, doesn't matter where he qualifies, he'll be right at the back of the field.
That's a nice welcome gift, huh?
Isn't it? Yeah, hello, welcome to Formula E. Can you fight your way through 21 other drivers, please? Yeah, it's unfortunate there for Felipe, but I mean, I think he's relatively optimistic going into this weekend. I mean, he's a quick driver, he's very highly rated, but I didn't realise it's his first single-seater race since he won the Formula 2 title back in 22. Yeah,
I mean, Formula 2 champion, he's been out of the cockpit in a single-seater, apart from the odd FP1 session and some tests that he's done in Formula E and Formula 1. So he has had experience driving the recent cars in more recent times than 2022, but being in a race environment is very different as a driver. Those experiences going wheel to wheel, you need that constant and consistent practice to go wheel to wheel, especially in these cars, because we know what Formula E as a championship is like, and particularly this circuit because of how wide it is. You can quite consistently see 2-3 wide into lots of corners during the race.
And speaking of going wheel to wheel, the two Tag Heuer Porsches ended up connecting yesterday at the end of free practice 1, resulting in this man, Antonio Felix da Costa, ending the session in the wall, bringing out the red flag. It was a bit of a bizarre incident, essentially, where da Costa was coming out the final corner, Wehrlein was coming out the final corner right behind him. They came together and it sent da Costa into the wall.
Yeah, Rowland was actually ahead, and he slowed down so much to prep his lap to make a really good exit. And I think da Costa was finishing his lap, and it was Rowland was so slow that da Costa had no any other choice to pass him. But then obviously the team order was to let room for Pascal to launch his lap, but yeah, I think they were a bit too close together, and but I think Pascal just thought he could get away without lifting the throttle to have the best launch of the lap, but then I think, yeah, they both got a bit surprised by that, so not ideal.
Yeah, not ideal at all there for both of those drivers. It did cause some humour, though, up and down the pit lane, especially with the team principals. Well, if you have just joined us ahead of free practice 2 this morning, unfortunately the session has been cancelled owing to the climatic conditions. You can see a lot of standing water on the circuit. It has been coming down ever since late last night, really, unfortunately, and it doesn't look to be set to improve anytime soon. So race direction deciding the best decision is to cancel this session. Qualifying is due to take place at 11 local time, so that's in an hour and 15 minutes. So there's a good chance for weather to improve between now and then. The concern, though, is this afternoon, because I understand from looking at some weather radars that there's a possibility we could be set for some thunderstorms in sort of race time this afternoon, between sort of 1 and 4 o'clock, which is peak race time here. It doesn't look great.
not ideal to go racing. So yeah, hopefully we'll get better and the weather forecast is wrong, so we can have a bit of a show. But it will be tough for the drivers.
Well, let's catch up with Takeaway Porsche team principal Florian Modlinger.
Florian Modlinger, here we are in a very wet Berlin. Seen the sessions cancelled. I bet you're very keen to get out there and get going.
Yeah, the session is cancelled. A lot of standing water. Race control judged it too dangerous. Therefore, we have to wait now for quali and how the situation will evolve in the next 2 hours. Always a pity, especially when you see already spectators in these conditions on the grandstands, to not giving them the show and to not getting the chance to get the first data in wet conditions. But it's for everybody the same, and now it's the job to stay focused and to prepare properly for the next session, which hopefully will be qualifying.
We of course know that you're very much in the midst of a three-way title fight between, not just the drivers, but in the manufacturers and the teams as well. Not being able to get running away when you need to be chasing those all-important points. How much does that put you on the back foot?
I would say it's for all the same, clear. So let's see what's happening. We had in Shanghai a very strong wet performance, so let's build on this. And in general, for the momentum, we are there to use it. When you see the last 3 races, we closed in the manufacturer championship from 44 points to 3 points now, so it's very close. And in the team championship 3 races ago, we had a gap to Nissan of 15 points, which we turned over to a lead of 10 points. Means nothing, because still 25% of the races of the season 11 are to go. 4 races in 2 weeks, a lot of points to collect. And there we need to maximize every race day. And therefore we are here today, and let's influence what we can influence, the weather we cannot influence. So we have to accept, and let's see what the day brings.
Looking back to yesterday, we saw at the end of that free practice 1 session, every team principal's worst nightmare, 2 drivers in the same team coming together. FIA have taken all the debate out of it, and Pascal has a penalty, I believe.
Yes, Pascal has a 3 grid place penalty. Yeah, this is what you don't want to see, clear. I also told the drivers that it's unacceptable to have contact between 2 teammates, especially in free practice 1. When you see them changing position, Antonio overtaking in the last corner Pascal, both knew the program of each other. And then on start-finish, there was the contact made. First, there was a misunderstanding, which line they take. In this quick right kink, normally you get a bit more to the left. And Pascal expected Antonio following the ideal line and then passing inside through, cutting through. Antonio wanted to be kind, stayed inside and expected Pascal on the outside. And then the speed overshoot from Pascal in 350 to Antonio was so much that he clearly misjudged. He lifted too late. He hit Antonio, and that you saw the outcome on the TV. Is not what you want to see, clearly. Unacceptable, especially to take this risk in a free practice session. And you can be sure that we talk to the drivers, and clear target is to not have anything again in the future.
So have they both arrived here this morning with calm heads ready for the battle ahead?
I'm a fan of clear words, clear communication, transparent communications. We discussed it. It was yesterday. We have to put it away, and we have to focus on what we have to deliver today. And yeah, that's the main target. One night sleep, and now full focus on the race day.
Thanks, Florian.
You're welcome.
Good to hear there from Florian Modlinger. Thank you to Saunders. Let's have another look at the incident which brought the red flag out in FP1 yesterday. This is the crash between the 2 Takeaway Porsches. Wehrlein into the back of Da Costa. Well, you can see there quite visibly not what the team would have wanted, not what Da Costa would have wanted. He was pretty cross about it, as I'm sure you can imagine. And, well, what do you make of it on board, Andre?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think they're a bit both at fault. Obviously, Pascal a bit more responsible with hitting the back of Antonio, but we don't see what happened at the entry of the corner. If both drivers were aware that, okay, he's launching the lap, and I think Pascal probably got a bit surprised that Antonio overtook him just before launching the lap, and then things just didn't come together very well. But yeah, it is a funny situation that should not happen, but it's not that dramatic. It's a bit ironic, but yeah, it's not the best for the atmosphere in the team. But normally There should be better understanding of what's going on, but yeah, it can happen. It was not a big drama, and hopefully they move on for that.
Yeah, every team principal, aside from Florian Modlinger, I think, was seeing the humour in that instant at the end of FP1, Bill.
Yeah, I think it's more relief that it wasn't their drivers, because that's the last thing that you want as a team principal, is to see your drivers come together, particularly when you think about the context behind the fact they're going for the team's championship, the fact it was a practice session, like all of those things considered. Sometimes, you know, you can see a bit of occasional contact in a race. Formula E, that's kind of part of the package, really, because the racing is so tight, but to see it in a practice session, and it felt just so unnecessary. I'm really interested, though, as we see Oliver Rowland having a bit of a FaceTime home to his family.
Yeah, that's Harper on the FaceTime there.
You're on.
So you can listen in here.
You're on, apparently. You are live. Are you there? Look at the TV.
Look at the TV, Pops.
I love that.
Are you on the TV or not? Look.
She's got the filters on as well.
Lauren, show the TV
Oh, I'm loving
on the
this.
phone.
Yes, yes.
With the camera.
Oh, this is great. Oh, he had Harper up on the podium, if you remember, back in Tokyo when he won there for Nissan. But
it's really good to see how happy and content Oliver Rowland is, and I think a happy racing driver normally is a fast racing driver.
he seems so relaxed, doesn't he, given the pressure that's, you know, on his shoulders this weekend.
What pressure? He's got so much point lead. Like, he's in the best situation out of everyone. So of course he could wrap it up today or tomorrow, but he's done the job already. Like, let's say, of course, you know, it's for him to lose. But with the point gap he has, I think he can just focus on driving and put that on the side. It's just a matter of, you know, when and how. But that's how you win a championship. When you do the job at the beginning of the year, get those valuable points at the beginning, then you can relax a bit when things get tense at the end of the year.
Yeah, consistency is what makes champions. We've seen that. You know, we look at Jake Dennis in season 9 last year with Pascal Wehrlein, those consistently strong results. I mean, if you look at Oliver Rowland in the championship, he's had a couple of blocks in the copybook, but even they've only come the last couple of weekends. You know, 10th in Jakarta, 13th in the second race in Shanghai. But for that, and maybe Sao Paulo, you could argue he's been pretty much there, Bill.
I mean, the fact that he's got 4 victories in a Formula E season, it says a lot, because normally there's only one other driver on the grid that's had multiple victories this season, which is Günther. So you look at his championship rivals, the 2 Porsche drivers, they haven't got that. They haven't got multiple victories. And when we're looking at the points deficit that they face, they're going to need to string back-to-back victories in multiple weekends together to even have a chance. And it's still in Oliver Rowland's hand with how consistent he's been. So, like Andre said earlier, he's just did the job at the early parts of the season, being consistent, picking up the big points finishes. And that's put him in the position now where the pressure is slightly off. Yeah, and it's also a circuit he goes well at. Won here back in 2020 when we had the 6 races in 9 days scenarios. Finished on the podium on another occasion as well. Double podium last year here, Tom. So, I mean, it's definitely a circuit he's had strong results at. Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, unfortunately, free practice 2 cancelled due to the climatic conditions. The upshot is that qualifying will get underway, or is scheduled to get underway, at 11:20 local time. So we've got just under 2 hours to go until that session is about to go. So hopefully the conditions will improve and we will get qualifying underway for round 13. Thank you so much for joining us, though, in the meantime here in Berlin, and we will see you for qualifying here in Germany for round 13.